Why did you guys ban ABC?
Because they're hopeless. I banned them the first time in 1996 for 8 months. No, I want honest reporting. If you can't do that, don't come anywhere near me.
ABC's in full meltdown mode because they can see the writing on the wall. With the rise of One Nation, they know their days are numbered. So on ABC's Media Watch this week, they desperately tried to respond to the orange wave that swept through Farrer over the weekend.
The victory in the actual electorate came about in spite, or was it because of, an ugly attitude towards the press, in particular the ABC, captured in an excruciating encounter just 24 hours before votes were cast.
Bye-bye to the ABC.
Pauline Hanson's Chief of Staff, James Ashby, taking it upon himself to boot the ABC from a media event on the eve of the Farrer by-election.
See you later, guys.
But had he run this executive decision by the boss?
One, if they're local. Oh, you see.
Thank you. Yeah, we're doing all right. That was told.
No, Pauline, they shouldn't have.
Actually, Linton, they should have, and you know why. Because unlike Pauline in that moment, you have all the details as James did. As you know, One Nation's policy is to privatise the taxpayer-funded broadcaster, with an exception for ABC Regional Radio, which generally provides a decent local service. But despite this reporter being positioned as a country correspondent, she was feeding directly to the ABC's national coverage in real time. Coverage that was airing nonsense like this.
A big and dangerous mistake to legitimise One Nation and to embolden One Nation. Here we've had Angus Taylor make a deliberate decision to preference One Nation above the Independent, which tonight could really be one of the reasons they get across the line. We'll see as the votes come through, but that will be key. And that will legitimise them, and I used the term earlier on in the broadcast, the permission structure. If they are able to win their first lower house seat, that begins the process of legitimising them. And in other electorates where they may run, voters thinking, well, it's happened before, it's normal now. You start normalising something.
No matter how many times I rewatch that, I still can't believe how brazenly anti-democratic the ABC has become. And yes, I'll say it again, James absolutely made the right call. In fact, One Nation has the perfect policy when it comes to the ABC.
These ones are on $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year. What for? What do they do? If you're so good at your job, guess what? Subscriptions. Go and sell subscriptions. People want to watch your program? No problem.
Well, people say that when you're saying these things, especially banning the ABC, that you're attacking press freedoms, you're anti-democratic. What do you say to that?
Yeah, but where's my freedom? Where's my freedom and my right to correct recording? You've denied me that right. I have no problem talking to the media, but give me a fair go. Otherwise, I'm not interested. Why would you allow someone to keep kicking you in the guts and keep taking it again? That's like domestic violence. You had domestic violence, and you let the abuser come in your house again and keep doing it to you. Sorry, it doesn't happen with me.
And they've been banning the taxpayer-funded activist network for a very long time now, including recently outside the after-party celebrating One Nation's massive success in the South Australian election.
One Nation is saying if they do get a high primary vote tonight, it'll send a message to the major parties, Labor and Liberal, or as they call the uni parties. So look, we're expecting the federal leader, Pauline Hanson, to be in town tonight. She's been right across South Australia from Port Lincoln, Maitland, on the York Peninsula and Coober Pedy as well. But as you'll notice, I'm not actually inside the function here, so I'm your eyes and ears outside the pub here in Adelaide's East. The party has told the ABC that we are banned from entering their function. They're unhappy with some of the ABC's coverage.
Yep, and you guys still haven't learned a thing, but the public is finally waking up, which is exactly why your taxpayer funding grift won't last much longer.
That conviviality evident too on polling day, this time out on the streets, with One Nation supporters trying to block the ABC's camera.
I'm on public space.
No, please don't. Please don't.
So you're denying me ABC to get cutaways on a public property.
So why was Australia's national broadcaster shown the door by One Nation on the eve of a knife-edge by-election? Could it be what happened 7 weeks ago when its South Australian election campaign was soiled by this ABC corker?
I love how he pretends that this all started 7 weeks ago when we all know Pauline has been shutting them down since 1996. But the funny thing is she's actually quite forgiving. Just look at how she treats other mainstream media journalists who have dramatically changed their tone in recent times.
Nice to see you. I'm going to be on air in about 20 seconds live. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
We can walk you through
I've never seen Paul Dowsley fangirl so hard.
It'll be received very well because it's a footy club filled with One Nation supporters, hundreds of them waiting for Pauline to arrive. It's the very first time she's been in a peer. Nice to speak with you on 7 News, Pauline.
Thank you very much.
Are you going to win this by-election?
We're going to give it a good hard try. I've got a fantastic candidate in Darren.
There was one journalist as you're walking in, Paul Dowsley, who's fangirling you. Suddenly, even the mainstream media, even Paul Dowsley, has shifted and he seems to love you. What happened there?
I think people want honesty out of their politicians. They know I don't BS when I answer a question. I answer the question. I don't beat around the bush with people or media, but all I say to the media, give me a fair go. If you don't give me a fair go, you'll never get an answer.
He's giving you a fair go nowadays. Paul, you've changed in 10 years, mate.
What's
10
that?
years ago you weren't
10
that
years
excited.
ago I didn't have the beard with the grey.
People are sort of waking up and realising what's happening. Maybe he's had a good hard look at what's happening in his state with the state of the politics here, and the state isn't one hell of a mess here. So everyone's waking up. Avi, you have no idea the number of people that have come up and apologised to me. I said, what for? Because I was one of those protesters against you. I never understood what your message was. These people are now woken up what I want to do for the country, that I'm passionate about the country.
What do you think happened?
Well, all the media, all the mainstream media in Australia has had to eat humble pie and come to the realisation that there's a lot of public support for Pauline Hanson. So for them to now talk against her in the disparaging manner that they have against One Nation voters, they're insulting a lot of people and they're too afraid now to do that. So I think he's come around to understanding that there is a lot of support out there for One Nation and that people are going to keep calling him out on it. I spoke to plenty of people here that noted that Paul Dowsley is actually here, and they were reminding me of the past when he was, covering COVID, for instance, and they haven't forgiven him. So the people have a long memory. Yes, he's sucking up to Pauline Hanson and sucking up to everyone these days and pretending like the past was never there, but as is the rest of the media. And you're seeing that even with the ABC sometimes trying to get access to these events. This is where the people want to congregate and support One Nation, and they need to accept that this is where the mood of the country has shifted.
The mood has definitely shifted, and to be fair, I'll give credit to Paul, whom, if you've been watching me for a while now, you know I've been especially tough on throughout COVID mainly, but I genuinely think he's changed, maybe even grown. The kind of growth the ABC seems completely incapable of.
Party of Grievance added another to its ever-growing list.
One Nation doubles down on ABC ban.
I don't want to talk to them. It's bad enough I got to pay their wages.
The acrimony still fresh when the ABC set about reporting another by-election in the Victorian state seat of Nepean, with One Nation hopeful Darren Hercus responding to one ABC interview request with this.
Unfortunately, due to the ABC's lack of impartiality, I am unwilling to discuss the Nepean by-election.
Another ABC reporter, Alicia Thomas-Sam, receiving similar treatment.
Do you want to speak to the ABC?
Oh, at the moment, no, thanks, Ali. No.
This is a national program.
Yeah, I know, Ali.
Neither One Nation nor the ABC would comment, but One Nation's animosity should really come as no surprise. Pauline Hanson's Svengali having voiced his displeasure for years over unflattering pictures.
Pauline Hanson had a tick bite or a wasp bite on her face. They continued to use that shocking image for almost a year.
And allegations the ABC gives the PM an easy run.
Well, we know the ABC's been biased for at least a decade now.
Well, that's weird, and correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he try claiming earlier that this all only started 7 weeks ago? Anyways, yes, One Nation's policy is rightly hostile toward ABC, and if you agree with that policy, make sure to sign and share the petition defundabc.com or by scanning the QR code on your screen.
Reporting an election is among the most sacred of responsibilities for the press and vital to the body politic. If One Nation is blocking the ABC because it suffered some tough reporting, or worse, because it believes it's lit upon some kind of cunning electoral ploy, alarm bells should be ringing. Not least for those other journos who stood and watched the ABC ejection and raised not a word of protest.
You know, you've been denied access to events when you wanted to cover Daniel Andrews' press conference. They kicked you out, and the media were all okay with that. It wasn't about freedom of the press then.
That's so true, Rukshan. And the funny thing is, they didn't just stand by and watch my ejection. The ABC, including this very show, actually ran hit pieces against us for doing what I thought was their job in holding the government accountable during those very dark times.
Harvey is Avi Yemini, social media provocateur and Australian mouthpiece of Rebel News, the Canadian-based far-right media outfit which has provided a platform to Mark Latham and UK anti-Islam rabble-rouser Tommy Robinson. Rebel's been railing against vaccine passports and mandates, and on the streets of Melbourne, Yemini was widely welcomed.
Rebel News for the working class. You can get one of these at rebelstore.com.
But let's stand up as a nation. This is bullshit what's going on, and don't be tricked by the media, by the lies and the deceit.
Yemini was happy to stoke the anti-mainstream media sentiment, and plenty of people were watching. He's giving a platform to them without context or balance. An independent journalist, he is not.
So spare us the tears now that the shoe's on the other foot. And speaking of non-journalists, this is the same ABC that spent the week celebrating the hiring of an extreme left-wing activist to lead one of its departments. So cry all you want. Call us whatever names you like. The reality is, we're no longer the fringe you tried to paint us as. We're quickly becoming the majority.
I remember when I was demonised for supporting Pauline. Now I feel like because I'm a rebel, I want to go against her because it's become too mainstream.
Oh, don't do that.
If you're in charge, will you defund them?
Yes.
You know, Ken Williams is actually my uncle. Do you want to tell my uncle something?
All right. No, I'm sorry. You're out of a job, mate. Too bad.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment and share, because I get the feeling ABC certainly won't. And then head to defundabc.com or scan the QR code on your screen to add your name to the thousands of Aussies who demand an end to this taxpayer rot. Defundabc.com or scan now.